Florentine cookies are a thin wafer almond chocolate cookie sandwich. In a bowl, we got 1¾ cup of sliced blanched almonds. Make sure they're sliced, not slivered or chopped. They're flat slices like these. Then 3 tablespoons total of all-purpose flour, ½ teaspoon salt, and the zest of 1 navel orange. Make sure you wash that orange. Give it all a good toss and set it aside. In a non-stick pot, add 1/3 cup of unsalted butter, 3/4 cup granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of whipping cream, and 2 tablespoons of corn syrup. And bring this up to a boil over medium heat. Once it gets boiling, reduce the heat. We want to just maintain those bubbles and boil this for 1 minute, and that is it. Keep an eye on it, because if it's too high, it will boil over and make a big mess, and this is extremely hot, so please be careful. So that's been a minute. I'm going to turn it off and take it off the heat. Bring it over here. And then add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Give it a stir. Then stir in that almond mixture we made until it's all in there, and give this a really good mix up. Want to mix this until all the dry ingredients are coated and wet and moist. And then we're going to let this sit for a few minutes, because we're going to be handling this with our hands. And right now it is really hot. So give it about 5 minutes to let this cool down a bit for you to handle it. Now get a large baking sheet and line it with parchment paper. Then now this mixture has cooled down, so I'm going to take a teaspoon and dip it in water so it won't be so sticky. Have a bowl of water by you and take a teaspoonful of that mixture. It's very little, I know, but you'll be amazed how much this spreads. And place it down on your baking sheet and leave enough room from the sides and to the next cookie. And I find it, after a while, it's easier just to use your hands once you get a feel for how much a teaspoon is. Yeah, I just use my hands, wet my hands, take a little bit of that thing like that, and place it on my parchment sheet. And I have one more room for there. And I'm going to continue until this is all gone. It's going to take a while. I find using 2 baking sheets handy, because as one is baking in the oven, you can start preparing these little forms while the other is cooking. And it doesn't take long to cook either. It just takes about 5 minutes. So you'll be working very quickly. And you may be tempted, like I do sometimes, to make them bigger. I'm getting bored, I'm getting tired, I want to hurry up to get rid of this batter. But if you do, make sure you do it on its own separate baking sheet. You don't want to start off with these small ones and then all of a sudden you're making bigger ones, because then they will not cook consistently. So I'll be back when I'm done with this dough. So I formed all my mounds, and in total it's about 4 baking sheets. I don't know about you, but I don't have 4 baking sheets. I just have 2. So I've done those 2, and then what batter was left, which was still about half, I just made the mounds and left it on my counter, so it's ready to place on a baking sheet in the next batch when it comes out of the oven. So this will go into a 350-degree Fahrenheit preheated oven for 5 to 6 minutes. It depends. I would start checking at the 4-minute mark, because they can burn on a dime. Okay, these have been in for 6 minutes. And that's what you're looking for. Nice and golden brown around the edges. And then throw in your next baking sheet and cook that again. While that other one is in there, slide this off onto your counter. And then take a cake spreader and just give it a quick slide underneath the cookie to loosen it from the parchment paper. I've melted some semi-sweet chocolate chips in 30-second intervals in the microwave, giving it a stir each time. That's all nice and melted. Now I've got 2 halves here, and they're roughly the same size. You can feel if they're the same size by just holding it. And if they feel the same size, use these 2, because they're not all going to be the same. And take your cake spreader and spread on the flat side of the cookie. You'll notice one is extremely flat. That was the bottom. And then take the flat of the other one, flat to flat, and there's your cookie. And repeat for the rest. So as you can see, they are a lot of work, but people I give these cookies to love them.